The shadow in the basement. The new apartment. Emma, a college junior, moves into a surprisingly cheap apartment in an old Chicago building. The building has a Gothic charm, with creaky wooden floors, high ceilings, and an eerie stillness that lingers in the air. The place has a history, but she ignores the whispers from neighbors about strange happenings. An elderly woman in 3B warns her to stay away from the basement, muttering about those who never return. Emma laughs it off, thinking the woman is just senile. At night, she hears noises from the basement. Soft whispers, faint footsteps, echoing through the vents. Sometimes, she even hears what sounds like furniture being dragged. She tells herself it's just the building settling, but deep down, an unease settles in her chest. The air in her apartment grows colder at night, the lights flicker occasionally, and shadows seem to stretch unnaturally long under her door. One evening, as she locks her door for the night, she swears she hears her name being whispered from the hallway. When she checks, there's no one there. Just as she turns to go back inside, she notices something chilling, a handprint smudged in dust on the outside of her apartment door. It wasn't there before. The shadow below. One night, after another sleepless evening of strange sounds, Emma decides to investigate. Armed with a flashlight, she slowly descends the basement stairs, her heartbeat thudding in her ears. The air grows thick and musty, carrying the scent of damp earth and something metallic, something like rust, or perhaps blood. The silence is so heavy it presses against her ears, amplifying even the faintest creak of the wooden steps beneath her feet. Peering into the dimly lit basement, she spots a dark figure standing perfectly still in the farthest corner. It doesn't move toward her, yet she feels an eerie pull, as if it's watching, waiting. The basement's single flickering bulb casts shifting shadows, making it impossible to see the figure's face. Just as she takes a cautious step forward, the bulb sputters out, plunging the room into darkness. A whisper brushes against her ear, though no one is close enough to speak. The hairs on her arms stand on end as a chill rushes through her body. Emma gasps and stumbles backward, her flashlight flickering wildly. She swings the beam of light frantically across the room, trying to find the figure again. For a brief second, she catches a glimpse. Elongated fingers reaching toward her. A pair of hollow, staring eyes. Then it's gone. Her breath quickens, her pulse hammering in her throat. The overwhelming sensation of being watched, of something unseen creeping closer, makes her chest tighten with fear. She doesn't wait to see more. Fear grips her, and she scrambles up the stairs, slamming the door shut behind her. Panting, she presses her back against it, trying to convince herself it was just her imagination. But deep down, she knows. It was real, and whatever it wasn't human. The hidden door. Determined to prove herself wrong, Emma returns the next night with a flashlight. She follows the shadowy figure deeper into the basement, her pulse quickening with each step. The air is dense, thick with a musty scent that makes her throat tighten. As she scans the space with her light, she notices something odd. A section of the wall that doesn't match the others. The bricks look newer, hastily placed, as if someone tried to cover something up, running her hands along it. She feels a subtle indentation, her fingers brushing against a barely visible seam. A chill rushes down her spine as she presses against it. With a creak, the hidden door groans open, revealing a narrow passage lined with dust and cobwebs. At the end of the passage, a small secret room awaits. The moment she steps inside, her breath catches in her throat. The walls are covered with missing persons posters, yellowed with age. Some look recent, others decades old. Their eyes seem to follow her, pleading for help. Emma stumbles backward, her flashlight shaking in her grip. Her gaze lands on a familiar face, one she recognizes instantly. The most recent poster is of the previous tenant of her apartment, and beneath it, a blank poster waits, fresh and untouched, as if anticipating its next victim. The truth revealed. Shocked, Emma begins researching the names and discovers that all the people on the posters were last seen in the building. The more she digs, the more she realizes a horrifying pattern. The disappearances always happen when someone new moves in. Worse, she recognizes the most recent poster. It's of the previous tenant of her apartment. Determined to find answers, Emma searches through old newspaper archives, online forums, and even visits the local library, where a librarian recognizes the address instantly. The woman's face darkens. "That place, it's cursed," she mutters. Emma's pulse quickens as the librarian pulls out a dusty file containing reports of unsolved disappearances spanning nearly 50 years. Each case is disturbingly similar. Young tenants moving in, strange occurrences, and then nothing. No bodies, no evidence, just vanished lives. She digs deeper, uncovering whispers of a former landlord, a reclusive man who had lived in the building until he too disappeared. Some claimed he performed dark rituals, others insisted he was just another victim. But one thing becomes clear: whatever haunts the building didn't stop with him, and Emma might be next. As she scrolls through an online forum late into the night, she comes across a chilling post, dated just a few days before the last tenant vanished. It describes the exact same whispers, the same shadowy figure, and ends with a desperate plea for help. Heart pounding, Emma checks the username. It belonged to the girl who lived in her apartment before her. The final words send a shiver down her spine. If you're reading this, it's too late for me, but maybe you can still escape. The final choice. Emma's fear turns to urgency as she hears footsteps behind her. The shadowy figure emerges